Something big is happening north of the border, and you won't hear it laid out this way on the evening news. Canada's liquor shelves are emptying. Iconic brands like Jack Daniel's are collapsing in sales, and Donald Trump has just turned whiskey into a weapon of economic war. What started as a fight over tariffs has exploded into a battle over national pride, trade, and the future of North America's economy. This is no longer just about bourbon or wine. This is Trump versus Canada, Ontario versus Ottawa, Jack Daniel's versus Canadian rye. It's a showdown where the stakes are higher than a few missing bottles on a shelf. This is about humiliation, collapse, and who really calls the shots when trade wars turn into full-blown economic combat. And right now, Trump is holding all the cards. Donald Trump didn't just slap tariffs on Canadian goods. He detonated a political grenade that's now rippling through the entire economy. In March, Washington raised duties on Canadian steel, aluminum, and a long list of other exports, some tariffs as high as 35%. On paper, it looked like a typical Trump move. Tough talk on trade, America first in action. But the aftershocks north of the border have been staggering. Ottawa retaliated immediately, not only with dollar-for-dollar counter tariffs, but with something far more symbolic and humiliating, pulling American alcohol off government-run shelves. That one move, quiet, bureaucratic, but devastating, effectively erased hundreds of millions of dollars from U.S. companies that relied on Canada as their second-largest spirits market. To put this in perspective, American distillers exported over $260 million worth of spirits to Canada last year. That market is now collapsing in real time. Bottles of Jack Daniel's, Woodford Reserve, Napa Valley wines, all of it swept off the shelves of Ontario's LCBO, one of the single largest alcohol buyers on the planet. Overnight, American brands lost visibility, distribution, and credibility. The numbers tell the story. U.S. spirit sales in Canada have plunged by 66%, while Jack Daniel's alone has seen a catastrophic 62% drop. And yet, while U.S. giants are bleeding, Canadian producers are popping champagne, literally. Ontario wine sales have soared by 67%. Canadian breweries, distilleries, and vineyards suddenly find themselves filling the vacuum, sliding into the empty spaces where American products used to dominate. A market once saturated with Tennessee whiskey and California reds is now showcasing Okanagan Pinot Noirs and Ontario craft spirits. The boycott, born out of retaliation, has morphed into a nationalist buying spree. For Trump, this is about leverage. Every tariff, every threat, every press conference quip about making Canada the 51st state, it's all part of a high-stakes game of pressure and humiliation. For Ottawa, it's a political nightmare, forced into symbolic acts of defiance while watching provinces bleed money to store unsellable stockpiles of U.S. booze. And for America's distillers, it's nothing short of a death sentence in one of their most profitable export markets. Trump isn't just rewriting the rules of trade. He's reminding Canada that in this economic war, Washington decides who drinks, who profits, and who collapses.
Across Canada, the dominoes are falling one after another, and the picture is nothing short of disastrous for American producers. In Ontario alone, nearly $1 billion worth of U.S. liquor has been swept off the shelves of the LCBO, a crown corporation so powerful it ranks among the largest single buyers of alcohol in the world. That decision wasn't just symbolic, it effectively shut down the single most important gateway into the Canadian market for American brands. In Nova Scotia, the numbers are almost absurd. $14 million worth of U.S. alcohol is just sitting in warehouses, sealed off from customers, gathering dust and inching toward expiration. Quebec's crisis might be the most dramatic of all. $27 million worth of stock is locked away in storage, with hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of rosé, boxed wine, cocktails, and bourbon nearing expiry before the government scrambled at the last second to donate the booze rather than destroy it outright. And this isn't some isolated provincial stunt. Across the country, the boycott has triggered a collapse of historic proportions. Sales of U.S. spirits have plunged by more than 66%. Jack Daniel's, the crown jewel of American whiskey, has seen its Canadian sales crater by 62%, an implosion so sharp that Brown-Forman's own chief executive admitted the obvious. This isn't just bad, it's worse than a tariff. In his words, tariffs at least leave your product on the shelf, still fighting for survival. Canada's move, by contrast, literally takes your sales away, completely removing our products from the shelves. It is economic exile, a total blackout of American brands in one of their largest and most reliable foreign markets. The fallout doesn't stop with lost revenue. Provinces themselves are bleeding cash just to keep this stockpile of American liquor locked up. Quebec has already spent nearly $500,000 in storage costs alone, simply to babysit unwanted U.S. booze. Warehouses are full, shelf space has been cleared, and officials are scrambling to figure out what to do before millions of dollars of inventory becomes useless. Meanwhile, Canadian consumers have turned sharply toward domestic brands, not out of quiet preference, but out of necessity. And Ottawa is caught in the middle, desperate to look tough against Trump while simultaneously managing a logistical nightmare that's draining provincial coffers. This is what escalation looks like in a trade war. Every province is improvising, some reselling to restaurants until inventory dries up, others hoarding stockpiles like a Cold War bunker, still others weighing whether to destroy products outright. The trade relationship has become a political battlefield, the alcohol sector a frontline casualty. And through it all, Trump is watching the chaos unfold, fully aware that one stroke of his pen forced Canada to turn its liquor market upside down. The provinces are scrambling, the companies are panicking, and Ottawa is humiliated.
Trump has forced Canada to stare into the mirror and face a brutal reality. You cannot freeload off American trade and expect there will never be consequences. For years, Ottawa leaned on preferential treatment, backroom accommodations, and the assumption that Washington would never push too hard. Trump shattered that illusion with one sweeping decision. He turned tariffs into leverage and whiskey into a weapon. And suddenly, Canada's polite defiance looks more like desperation. Shelves are bare, warehouses are stuffed with unsellable stock, and provincial governments are reduced to debating whether they should destroy or donate expired American alcohol. Rules matter. Results matter. Trump is showing Canada that in the new game of global commerce, sentiment and symbolism mean nothing if you don't have leverage. The American giants are bleeding, Canadian consumers are humiliated, and Ottawa is clinging to the narrative that this is a patriotic stand, even as ordinary people see empty spaces where Jack Daniels once stood. The image of Canada standing strong collapses when you peel back the curtain. It's not resolved, it's embarrassment. And the story doesn't end with whiskey. This is the warning shot. The next battlefield could be steel, aluminum, even autos, the very lifeblood of Canada's manufacturing sector. Trump has already floated 50% tariffs on metals and hinted at crushing duties on cars. If this continues, it won't just be distilleries in Tennessee or wine producers in California taking the hit. It will be the entire North American supply chain, unraveling piece by piece. Imagine assembly lines in Ontario grinding to a halt, auto parts piling up at the border, provinces turning against Ottawa as their economies sink deeper into chaos. Doug Ford has already threatened to keep U.S. booze off shelves permanently, staking out a hard line against both Trump and his own federal government. That's not just policy, it's the beginning of a domestic revolt, premiers charting their own path as Ottawa struggles to hold the country together. The trade war is no longer about bourbon or beer. It's about the future of North American commerce, the stability of Canada's economy, and whether Trump can bend an entire country to his will. Right now, he holds the pen, and he's rewriting the rules in real time. That's all from us here. Trump's trade war is no longer a policy dispute. It's a shockwave tearing through industries, humiliating governments, and reshaping the balance of power across the continent. Canada just got caught in the crossfire, and the fallout has only begun. If you want to keep following how these battles play out, who rises, who collapses, and who holds the leverage, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned. I'll see you in the next one.